Welcome to IDA's video channel. In this video, I'll show you how to display alignment, curve, radius, label. I'm going to alignments, add labels, add alignment labels. If you prefer using ribbons, you go to ribbon annotate, labels, alignment, add alignment labels. Use very first option because other options are using the default label style and you don't know what's the default label style. Then you have an option to either label single segment or multiple segments. If you label multiple segments, then all the tangents and curves will be labeled at once, which in some cases might be better and in some cases might not be the best. But I will use that option because I want to label all the curves, and even if it labels all the tangents, I can delete those labels. So I go to multiple segments. For the tangent or line label style, I don't really care. It can be start because I will delete it anyway. And when it comes to curve label style, there is quite a lot of styles and I can choose which label style I want to use. You can see that some of them do say BCC, PI, ECC, number from alignment segment number, number from curve group index, number from PI index. What does it mean? If it uses this BCC, PI, ECC label, I can use those labels for tables and I can display table with the curve details, and I want to use it as an exercise for this label, and then I can choose where I want to get curve number from, and I will use this option where there is a number from PI index, and later on I will show you number from curve group index. Those two are probably the most useful options. So let me use a number from PI index, and then I have an option to either add a radius with a specific precision or radius dimension line with a specific precision. I will use this option for now. When it comes to spirals, I don't have any spirals, so I can just use it like that. And then I click add and I select the alignment. As soon as I select alignment, all the tangents are labeled as well. But as I mentioned, I will select the tangent, right click, select similar. Unfortunately, I need to move it a little bit more up. Then I go to select similar, delete. It only deletes the tangent labels. The curve labels are there. And as you can see, this is the radius, which I can move along the alignment, or I can move it freely. If you want to move the PI label, you can't. As you can see, it only moves the radius. If I look at other curves, they also do have a label. And there's an overlapping label. Let me move it a little bit away so it doesn't show. I will do it like that. It looks a bit better. And again, I can move the label if I want to. Now, what if I want to move PI label? I can't, as I mentioned. Unfortunately, Civil 3D doesn't allow that in this label. Then let's look at a number. This is a very first curve, but it says PI3. Why? Because Civil 3D calculates all the PIs. This is a PI1, then there is a PI2, and this is a PI3. If you don't want that behavior, if you want to number this PI as a PI1, then you need to use number from curve group index. Let me close this window and let me open the properties. I will select this label and I go to properties, and then here you can see that I'm using label number from PI index. PI index is like an automatic numbering for PIs. As I mentioned, there's also option to use number from curve group index, and I will select precision 1, and the PI doesn't have any value. Why? Because it doesn't have a PI index. To add a PI index, I go to Edit Alignment Geometry. Then I go to Grid View, and in a grid view, I have a curves. And then I can fill the curve group index. If you don't see curve group index, right click on a heading and turn it on. Let me go there, and I can specify this is a curve number 1, or even 1.1, 1.2, whatever you prefer. This is curve number 2, 3, and so on. Let me close this, and you can see this is a PI1. The other PI didn't change because I didn't change the label. This label still takes the number from PI index, not from the curve group index. Let me show you the label that displays the dimension line. So I will change it to number from curve group index, and I will display dimension line. So it looks like this. So it shows the radius and the value. What if I don't want to display PI number at all? I can do that. I can select label, right click, and then I go to edit label style. Let me stretch it a bit. So this is precision 1. I go to edit current selection. Then I go to component name, and there is a PI, and I can set the visibility to false. So it is still there. It can be used, but it won't be displayed. So it looks like this. And finally, if I want to, I can freeze the alignment again. Let me go to alignment. I will freeze it. And even if I freeze it, it still shows the label for the radius. Let me go back. In some cases, you might want to display tangents and PIs. Let me just undo. I will display PI as well. But you don't want to display lines because they're overlapping with the pipes. To do that, you can select alignment, right-click, go to Edit Alignment Style. And then in a Display tab for Plan View Direction, you can turn off Curve, Line, and Spiral. And this is the result.